Hey everyone, I hope you're well. I thought I would just come and have a bit of a yarn, share a little bit about my book. I know that I've put up a few posts and you can obviously see the contents of my book now, but I just thought I would come and have a bit of a yarn and just share a little bit about what it's about. Some of you have known me for a long time, some of you I've grown up with, so we go way back, and others on my friends list are people who I work with and some who maybe I've recently met. So I just wanted to have a bit of a yarn and share a little bit about what my book's about. So this is a rough idea of what the cover's going to look like. The colour on my printer hasn't printed all that well, but obviously the title is important to me, and it's called Dream Big and Imagine the What If. Basically, it's my story. I thought, I've always had this goal about wanting to be an author and to write a book. I'm someone who never ever thought that I was good enough or smart enough, and someone that's overcome, I guess, a lot of life challenges. In my book, it is a bit of an autobiography where I share my story. So some of you know my story really well, some of you may not. You may learn some new things about me. And then it goes into kind of like an educational book. I am a teacher now and an educational leader where I support schools to really understand our history and our culture, so that truth telling is happening in our schools. So it turns into this sort of educational book, and my passion comes through around the difference that a teacher can make for our kids, because I really do owe my life to a teacher. She saw the best in me, she backed me, and she believed in me. So it was only right that I would then go on to have a career in education. Let's see if I can talk properly first. I then go and start to yarn about, I guess all the things that I've used and implemented along the way that have helped me overcome some of the challenges that I faced. It kind of turns into like a self-help book, ones that you can actually look at and, really start to hopefully try to implement some of the things. I'm also working on a journal as well. So when the book comes out in October, I really look forward to sharing my journal with you. For those of you that know my story, you obviously know some of the stuff that I've been through. I'm definitely not all about, focusing too much, and looking at it as a negative thing, because I believe that we all have a story, and our stories shape us into who we are. I guess a little bit about me, I'm someone that's, probably experienced grief far too many times. I've lost lots of significant people in my circle and in my life. And, the first being my birth mum when I was 3. Saying that, I was never denied the love of a mother. And luckily for me, mum had one sister, and her beautiful sister, she then raised me as her own, and she became my mother. So I never grew up without the love of a mother, but I've lost both my mums now. I was also really lucky enough to have my beautiful nan in my life until I was 16. She was my best friend, and, I guess I draw a lot of my strength and my resilience from my beautiful nan. I guess in my teens, I started to go down a really negative path, started smoking a lot of Yandi, really was heavily addicted, growing up in Waterloo, Redfern. All the drug dealers knew me back then. I would shoplift, getting caught, stealing, and I share some yarns in my book around, getting caught in Grace Brothers. When I had my 2-year-old nephew in the pram, I would have been only probably 14 years old, but went home feeling really, really proud that they didn't find the kids' socks that I had stashed under my armpits, because, that's just, what was happening for me at the time. But I reflect on that moment, and I'm really, really, happy and I guess thankful that I didn't get charged, because we know that sometimes when our Aboriginal kids get charged for these minor offences, I would have been only 14 or 15, 14 at the time, it changes the whole trajectory of someone's life. So I share some of those yarns. I've also got a life-threatening heart condition. I actually have a defibrillator, where I've got sort of these wires screwed into my heart. It's like a pacemaker, but it's there as something to help, I guess, zap me back if something was to ever happen to me. I know that if my mum would have had it, she's I was only 3 when she passed away, and I'm 40 now. I'm pretty certain that it may have saved her life. And I just, I missed a lot of school growing up, and I've worked in education as an attendance officer, really, really funny that I worked in that job because I was that kid on the other side of the, I guess, that space growing up where I had the attendance officers after me because my attendance was poor at times. And I guess it was a really critical moment in my schooling where I was probably only going a couple of times a week, often rocking in stoned, really just had no, I guess, hopes or aspirations for anything positive in the future. But a teacher did go out of her way to help me and support me. In my story, I do share some of the things, and I spent a lot of time in hospital as well growing up. Had this horrible skin condition called psoriasis, which it was a horrible thing for me to experience because, I guess I spent a lot of my teens covered up, trying to hide my skin because, I'd spend months in hospital waking up, to sheets that were, blood stained and, from the intense scratching. But importantly, I guess, it really did impact on my self-esteem. And thankfully now, I'm on some medication that really helps with that. But I guess, I do, to share some of the challenges and stuff I really need to go into, and a little bit about my story. I don't spend too much time there, and I share parts of it with you. And I guess I share about some other really challenging moments as well. For some of you that do know, it is hard to talk about, particularly around Rich, for those of you that knew him as well. And I don't go into too much around his passing, but importantly, I share about, I guess, my resilience and how I coped with Richard passing away. So, the love of my life after, growing up with a lot of those challenges, my life really was complete. When I did meet Richard, the father of my children, we established a life together, and we're raising our beautiful children. And sadly, when they were just 7 and 3, he passed away suddenly. And I then had to go and take life, head on and face it as a single mum. I share some of the things and some of the yarns around the things that I feel that help me, such as the law of attraction, dreaming big. There's a lot of really proud moments that I reflect on in my book, such as, being a single mum and buying my first home a couple of years after Rich passed away. And just those moments that I've dreamt up, and I think I've achieved more than I could have ever dreamt possible. I have bought my dream home here in Sydney. I've travelled to the most incredible places around the world, and I guess it is a bit of a happy ending for me. I've got a beautiful husband now who I'm so thankful for. We were married in 2015, and I express so much gratitude for my husband, and I just share some of those yarns about dreaming big and imagining the what if. So that what if is about just shedding those two words and turning them, because a lot of people think what if something bad happens, and we don't often back ourselves to take risks and to go on and set goals. But I guess I really try to flip those two words on their head to say, what if things do turn out right, and what if you actually take that risk and have a go and get that deadly job, or meet that person, or whatever it might be, or quit smoking Yandy, whatever it might be. But that's what my book's about, and I'm really excited to share it. I look forward to getting the first copy in my hand. This is just a printed copy from the internet. But yeah, it's been really, really scary, and I've had to focus on my courage because I feel that I'm meant to share my story, and I feel that hopefully that it's going to help somebody as well, to know that they're good enough and that they're smart enough to achieve anything that you set your mind to. So that's what my story is about. Obviously, I spend a whole chapter there. My longest chapter is called Black and Proud, where I talk about me being a strong, proud Aboriginal woman, and how all the things relating to my culture has really helped me be strong. And I look forward to sharing it with you. And I just want to, express my sincere thank you to each and every one of you for your support, to my family and to my friends, to my work colleagues, those that I've known all my life and those that I've just met over the years. I always believe that the people, circumstances and events, they'll come into your life when you need them most. And I'm really working on my courage, and even just coming on and having a yarn. Obviously I'm recording this video, but you know, at some point I'm going to come on as well and just to yarn on a live video, just to share a bit more about the topics, because I'm really passionate about my message, and I'm hopeful that it can actually make a difference for others. So take care everyone, and stay safe, look after yourselves and your family, and I'll yarn with you all soon. Bye.